Good morning, everyone. Good to be together today on this Thursday morning. Welcome to our April Professional Learning Power Hour. We are so excited for the great things you're going to learn today. And my name is Robin McClellan. I am the Director of Partnerships at Rivet Education. And in my past life, I led a district through implementation and partnering with high quality professional learning providers. And it's the right work. It's the other half of the important work. And so the great part of these kinds of opportunities is building your tribe of collaborators and colleagues who have been through the journey so that you can learn, from their missteps and from their celebrations. I used Rivet Education at that time as my go-to partner to make sure I worked with the very best vetted professional learning providers because it is challenging work to implement high quality instructional materials, as you know, but it's the best work. And you're in the trenches, and that's why districts like Corpus Christi ISD are here today to join and share. And I can't wait for you to hear about their journey and their story. Before I do some quick introductions of our rockstar guests today, we're going to talk a little bit about Rivet Education and its work, but just a few housekeeping notes. First of all, we're going to pause toward the end of the webinar for questions. So if you have questions that come up, if you want to stick them in chat, we'll make sure to get to those as we can, embedded or at the end. And then just make sure that your devices are muted so that we can make sure that our guests have the great stage of being able to share their journey with you. Okay, we're ready to get started. So at Rivet Education, our vision is that every educator receives the best resources and support to be able to do the hard work in the classroom. So we define high quality professional learning and create tools and services for states and local education, LEAs, so that we can support them to put that definition into practice for teachers. So this is the Professional Learning Partner Guide. This was the go-to tool that I shared about in my introduction. This Professional Learning Partner Guide frames all of Rivet's work. And so what you do is in this partner guide, you can go in and search for partners. And when you're getting ready to complete the other important half, you've adopted the high quality instructional materials. And now you're ready to go on the journey of selecting your partner to be able to make sure that you're implementing them right and well over the course of a year's process. It takes a while. This is where the go-to source. It's like Ed Reports for curriculum. These are the providers that will provide you the very best strategic work and next steps so that you can get the tough work done. We actually now have some exciting news. We are launching the work in Rivet Connect. So Rivet Connect is a platform where we can partner with LEAs and SEAs and providers to not only help you build skills in high quality instructional materials and curriculum-based professional learning, but also help you connect with talent when we have, gaps in positions and we need people to do the tough implementation work. And then we can help connect vendors and LEAs and SEAs with those great people who are a match for their needs. And then Service Connect, we can also, support in districts securing funding to be able to connect with the professional learning providers. So more information on that is coming in the next Power Hour in May. So in our last two blogs, we explored why school and school district leaders are often hesitant to bring in outside vendors because they're used to meeting all their professional learning needs in-house. But 1 in 3 teachers say that the professional learning needs that they're currently receiving isn't helpful. So today we have guests from Corpus Christi Independent School District in Texas to share their story of adopting new ELA curricula and how the partnership with School Kit played a vital role in the very strong, successful implementation that you're going to hear about today. So without further ado, we're going to dig into today's topic. I'm pleased to introduce Cindy and Lainey to you. They're going to begin by giving you a little bit of information about their roles, and then they're going to set the stage of giving you some framework on their district, and then we're going to dive into some questions. So we'll turn it over to you, Cindy, to begin sharing your role in this work.
Thank you, Robin. So good morning, everyone. My name is Cindy Bettis. I am the Director of Professional Learning for the Corpus Christi Independent School District. I've been with the district for 25 years, and I am truly excited to share with you our journey with School Kit. A little bit about Corpus Christi. We are located deep in the heart of South Texas. We are, you're not familiar with the location of Corpus. We are about maybe 2.5 hours from the Mexican border. In our district, we're currently serving about 33,000 students. We have 10 high schools, 6 of which are comprehensive. We have an early college high school. We have a technical high school. We have credit recovery. We have a high school for alternative placement. We also have 10 middle schools in our district, and currently we have 36 elementary schools. That's going to be reduced because we are doing some consolidations this year, and we'll have about 32 next year. Our students are predominantly Hispanic with 80%. We have a 13% white population and about 4% African American. In CCISD, we employ over 4,500 employees, with 46% being teachers. And so we have really worked hard to provide for our district, provide for our teachers, provide for our students. And a lot of that was with our partnership that we have with School Kit and our new curriculum. So that's a little bit about CCISD.
So now we get to dig into the experiences of these 2 very committed, dedicated people who are going to, I think they're going to rock your world in the very deep strategy that they've built and the hard work that they're taking on. So we know a little bit now about Corpus Christi Independent School District. Lainey, did you introduce yourself?
No, I did not have a chance to, but my name is Lainey Alanis Villarreal. I am the Curriculum and Instruction Specialist over High School English. I am a product of Corpus Christi ISD. I was a teacher in Corpus Christi ISD, and I'm now, this is my first year assuming this position as the Curriculum and Instruction Specialist. So I got to work with School Kit on the receiving end of training as a teacher. And now this is my first year on the leading end of training and the collaborative efforts of providing professional learning for our teachers. And as you said, I'm so excited to share what our journey has been.
We're so lucky to have both of you here with us. So now that we know more about our 2 amazing panelists and we know about the district, some framing, can you just talk about, we know that we have to have a why before we make radical change and before we really align ourselves to what's right for kids. What was the catalyst for Corpus Christi really realizing that we had to make change in ELA curricula in middle and high school?
Hi, so this is Cindy again, and I'd like to just, as educators, all of us look at data first. Data drives everything that we do. So in our district, we're constantly monitoring and reflecting on the data that we have and how our students are performing, and we knew we needed to make a change, not only because of the current status of our student academic performance, but also we were anticipating, and we were expecting, and we knew there was going to be a redesign in our state assessments. And so taking current data with what we were learning about the new design of our state assessment, we knew we had to make a change. Then we had COVID, which created these huge, learning gaps of instruction for our students. So we had to do something. And so fortunately, our state started to put together high quality instructional materials and make them available for all of the districts in the state of Texas. And so it was through that process of these HQIMs that we learned about the curriculum, as well as the partners that could help us to develop the implementation plan for our teachers. So our district really does have a high mobility. So it was really critical that after COVID, our students had a chance to engage more deeply and meaningfully with the curriculum and provide that rigorous grade level content. And so that was what made us change to or implement and adopt the HQIM. But when you have a shift in curriculum, you also have to make sure that you train your teachers. We had to make sure that we had the proper supports for our teachers so that this implementation would be very effortless and very seamless. And so originally the training that was provided were through online modules, and we knew we needed to be able to provide more for our teachers to ensure that effective implementation.
So Lainey has a unique position because Lainey, when it first was rolled out, was a classroom teacher, and now she's moved into a leadership position. So Lainey, can you talk a little bit about the why and the state of urgency?
I remember being on the receiving end of training. It was prior to the start of the school year, and they were rolling out a new curriculum, letting us know the why behind high quality instructional materials. And like any teacher, you're what is the next thing, right? What is the next thing? So we received our training from our consultants who have stuck with us going into year 3, same consultants. And we joke about, oh, I remember the rocky first starts when he first got here, and there's a room full of teachers who are what now? What's next? And the consistency and just having the consultants continually show up and support us in that process of year 1 alleviated a lot of the stresses that just come with doing something new, and that come with wanting to be your best for your students, but still grappling with new challenges that you're learning right alongside of your students. So being very grateful to the consultants. And now this year, getting to witness the growth that we've seen, and then getting to build our next steps has been really exciting. To get really into the mix and be reassured with our third-party consultants that you're right where you should be, and let's keep an eye on the big picture. So in the leadership position, it does help see we're not just going from class period to class period, lesson to lesson, but we're keeping an eye on the big picture and our students' trajectory.
And so if you think about that in our past lives, in my 25 years of district experience, professional learning was always willy-nilly, but it was always internal. So we never really had a third-party provider to come in and help us build that strategy. So what was the moment where you decided, you have materials in teachers' hands, you're eliminating the basic needs of getting them in their hands and expecting, that they're going to use them? What was the pivotal moment then about partnering with School Kit?
I would have to say that during that first year of implementation, we relied solely on those online modules that were provided to us from the Texas Education Agency. And it was during that time that the coordinator over secondary curriculum, she was learning right alongside the teachers. And through that learning online, she was starting to see School Kit on several of the different, resources that she was trying, that she found. And so she was like, okay, I need to learn more about what is this School Kit? What can School Kit provide our district? Because yes, online learning is great, but we know in our district, we have found that face-to-face, one-on-one kind of training is much more effective. And so after some initial conversations with School Kit and what they had to offer, our district decided, okay, let's partner with somebody who knows more than we do right now. This was all so new for everybody, and you don't know what you don't know. And so we just decided after just some, initial conversations that we needed to have an external partner help us design an effective implementation plan, because at the end of the day, our students were not going to be successful if our teachers and our leaders didn't understand what it was in the curriculum and, the differences and how, just how to implement that effectively. And so really it was just having the conversations and listening to what School Kit could provide to us that really had us just say, okay, we need to partner with somebody because we really don't know enough about this new curriculum to be able to implement it effectively on our own.
Lainey, what would you say from the teacher lens, even as far as professional learning you had received before, and then the district's decision to move toward the partnership with School Kit?
As prior to working with School Kit, professional learning, of course, is a valuable time and resource, but sometimes we don't always have those openings and that availability. But when we did, it was in general about how do you deliver something, or in general, it was about maybe we got this speaker here, or in general, we got a different provider here for this one time. And I couldn't say that there was a continuum. Moving into this position, my first year here, and that change of leadership, to have School Kit there and provide a continuum from one year to the next, despite a change in leadership or a change in whatever structures might be in place, that consistency was pivotal, I think, for teachers, because I, as a teacher, had seen the work. I had seen, okay, I'm willing to hear the School Kit thing. And I don't know if we've been clear, but we have adopted Odell and Amplify. Odell for our high schools and Amplify for our middle schools. And if you're familiar with Odell and Amplify, it is a wealth of high quality instructional materials. And I mean a wealth. You are not lacking any resource or material. In fact, it's a matter of figuring out how we're going to piece these things together, and how can we be selective with what we choose from our HQIM, and how do you implement it? School Kit came in and said, hey, number one, we have to learn the content, and we're here to support you in your internalization of the content. Year one, it was very, we need to know the why, and we need to know the how, and you need to know how it's structured. And that was the same for every cohort. From freshmen to senior teachers, we received the same presentations. We received the same internalization process. As this year began, School Kit came in and built upon it and said, okay, now we will do individual cohorts where we internalize individually, but it was still the same internalization resource, the same presentation. Cindy Perez was pivotal in saying, okay, it's time to push it a little more. And School Kit was so receptive to then say, okay, well, we're going to differentiate. Each cohort has their own resource for their own units. And so then our cohort days evolved to then be specific to senior teachers, specific to junior teachers, sophomores, and freshman teachers. And then now I'm really excited to see where we left off with our cohort days, and how teachers felt supported in internalizing the units and doing the intellectual preparation that comes with teaching Odell and Amplify, and then getting ready to extremely personalize and tailor our trainings, not just of the content now, because we're a little more internal. We know where it's headed. We kind of know where it is. And then now being specific to our delivery of the content. So it's a journey, but having School Kit from when I was on the receiving end to now in the planning phases, they've been so pivotal in that trajectory.
So you've talked a lot about coherence and vertical alignment and planning. So the two of you, what did it look like when School Kit first sat down and started talking about a strategic approach to professional learning?
So I'll start this one, Lainey, if you don't mind. So in year one, when we started this, like I said, we didn't really know enough to be able to just come in with our plan. And so we offered our teachers, it was 5 teacher trainings throughout the year. And then we also had 5 for our leaders in the blended approach. Some of them were face-to-face, some of them were online. But like Lainey mentioned, it was really more of the organization of the curriculum, what to expect with the curriculum. It was very basic foundational understanding of the curriculum and those college-ready standards with some application to practice. But it really wasn't that deep dive into the curriculum, because we needed to make sure that everybody just understood what they had in front of them and how they were able to use it. And so there was a true collaboration in terms of, we met with School Kit on a regular basis. And I will say that does make a difference when you have someone that you can reach out to, you can call, you can email and get a quick response. That's just huge. And we're a large district and we have a lot of needs that come up, and they were just so receptive to that. And so in year one, there was, that was critical. And that also helped us build trust in School Kit, because they were always there ready for us. We would meet monthly and just kind of design, our future steps. In year two, we were very fortunate to receive the T-Class grant, which is the Texas COVID Learning Acceleration Support Grant. And with that came additional funds. And, we know that having an external provider, it's going to cost something, right? You got to budget it. And so we were really lucky that we got this grant because it afforded us the opportunity to not only have training for our teachers and our leaders on a regular basis, but it also provided that job embedded on-site coaching of teachers and instructional coaches on our campus. So that was the big difference in implementation of support this year as opposed to year one, because we didn't have the on-site coaching. And so the partnership with School Kit and, specifically with our curriculum and instruction team, Lainey for high school, Mary Catherine at the middle school, I mean, they are in constant communication when it comes to scheduling visits. Who are we going to go visit? What teachers need additional support? We created a baseline in the very beginning with these on-site coaching visits. And it's like, okay, we identified teachers that were going to need some additional supports. And it was just a constant collaboration between our district and School Kit to make sure we were meeting the needs of our teachers based on what their individual needs. It wasn't just everyone's going to get the exact same thing. There was definitely layers of support. So I'm excited because this partnership, I mean, it really is a true collaborative partnership. We're already planning and meeting for implementation for next year. What is it going to look like? Because now as we're moving into year 3, we're still going to have teachers that are coming in. They're a year 1 teacher, so they're not quite ready for this year 3 of implementation support. So we as a district and within our partnership have to be able to design a plan and effectively implement a plan to support our different teachers' experiences. So what we're going to give to our new teachers is going to look different than our teachers who have been using this curriculum for 3 years. And so that to me is another critical piece of having this partnership, being able to identify and, okay, what do we have to go back and do for our new teachers that's different from what we're going to be doing for our veteran teachers. And so really that has been the journey over the 2 years that we've implemented moving forward into our next year. And so I know Lainey can probably add more from her lens as well.
Thank you, Cindy. You covered so much that I'm so excited about. We just had our end of the year summative kind of, we're reviewing what did we accomplish and doing a gap analysis of what still needs to happen. That was last week. And so School Kit personally came and visited. Our content creators from School Kit personally came and visited. Next week, I'll work with our individual consultant and coach. And we just kind of said, man, look what we've accomplished and what is still yet to be done. One of the greatest things that I'm excited about is School Kit's partnership with us that has allowed us to build capacity in our leadership and just build leadership capacity in general. So we aren't just supporting teachers. That on-site coaching is with our instructional coaches, and they're helping us ensure that we have sustainability with everything that we're implementing. So we're empowering instructional coaches to lead internalization. We're empowering teachers to lead PLCs on a week-to-week basis. We're empowering administrators and our campus leadership teams to be able to help further troubleshoot and implement and support. And so whereas a lot of it was surface level, which is necessary, you can't move on without this, of understanding the framework of the curriculum and truly learning what is Odell offering and what are the structures in Odell. And then next year, it's how do we lead? How do we troubleshoot PLCs? How do we have tough conversations and rumble with what we still, where we can still grow, and how do we continue to support our teachers and campuses as we continue to improve our implementation. We talked about how School Kit helps you anticipate and forecast, because as we've said, you don't know what you don't know until you found out you didn't know. Cindy was saying, hey, how School Kit asked us, how will you support teachers next year? And we have all these great plans of how year 3 is going to go and how we're ready to evolve our cohort days. And after challenging us and really kind of taking an inquiry-based approach to it, they pitched us, well, what if we made modules that help onboard new teachers? And what if we made modules that help onboard new instructional coaches? And it doesn't even have to be new teachers, but in any campus, there's mobility from one team to the next. We have a senior teacher who's now a sophomore teacher, and that unit might just be new to them. Is there a system in place that's sustainable to help them become acclimated to, that you can keep referring to, like a resource? And so I'm very excited that that's what we're planning with them for next year, and we'll be able to keep that going. And then, of course, this year we baselined with all of our instructional coaches, and every campus's different needs with those instructional coaches. And so now we have, okay, we're going to set goals, and each instructional coach, and as a team, they're going to create a vision and a mission, and then map out how we will support them in order to achieve that mission by the end. So School Kit has been pivotal in building this capacity, but then making sure that it's sustainable.
So several things to call out. First of all, you're talking about, if you think about implementation of high quality materials, you're talking about meeting the basic needs and moving towards sustainability. So it's a well-oiled machine that's, in the moment a bit, you're able to be organic and figure out things as they come. So what you're talking about is a trajectory of deep support with School Kit, building the capacity of your internal team, and then School Kit will start to release and your people will be able to pick it up. And so then also I noted there were two opportunities that a lot of people miss. One is building the capacity of leaders, because often sometimes we just like go straight to teachers and don't think about the vertical spine of the building leadership. So for you all to show the building leaders that they are expected to be able to learn, implement, follow up, give feedback, the cycle of inquiry that you're talking about is amazing. And then I'm going to stop talking, but the second misstep a lot of people make is, what about the new teachers? Like, you've got this great strategic rollout, but then every year there's turnover, or there's people, as you all mentioned in our previous call, who change grade levels and the curriculum's totally different, even going from elementary to high school, et cetera. So those are two things that I think School Kit partnered with you, listened to your needs, it sounds like, and then helped you figure out how to mitigate those potential risks. So that's all part of their experience and the partnership. And I'm glad that they are listening and very responsive to the needs of your individual district needs. One thing sometimes when we bring in an external partner, you have to have this baseline of building trust. So how does School Kit come in and start to build trust with your teachers, with your leaders, with your central office staff, so that everyone knew it was just a partnership and not like Big Brother coming in to, observe and recommend without being ingrained?
I have to give a huge shout out to our consultant at the high school level, Kenethia Jones. We have become close friends in this process. We're a text away of, guess what I just saw, guess what I'm celebrating, and no way, girl, way to go. And we have a really great rapport there. But I can speak on a teacher's end. Kenethia started with us, and Kenethia is moving forward with us. She has been so pivotal of showing us that everyone is learning. And as a teacher, when I saw that administration was right there with us at the ground level, learning and in the trenches of working through this high quality instructional material that is rigorous, they were right there with us in these internalization days, and they're right there with us on those baseline walks. And our administrative staff, or our administrators at each campus level, being very transparent and saying, guys, I'm being trained in this as well. And School Kit supporting those efforts and calling out those efforts and rewarding and highlighting different efforts kind of brought everyone's tension level down. And it's like, oh, well, we are learning. They're well versed and just highly skilled in having conversations that typically might come across, or how we originally thought of them, as shameful conversations. Like, I'm trying to do my best, I'm trying to implement this, but it's just so new. School Kit, and again, shout out to Kenethia of being just so skilled in having those conversations and how we provide feedback, that we now have campuses saying, like, when is she coming back? And if we're having our leadership training, will it be Kenethia? And I know at the middle school level, it's Kate. And so our district saying, is this a Kenethia visit, or is Kenethia coming? Or kind of just being recharged or re-energized. But to see that we're all in it together, and that the talent and skill of the School Kit representatives who are able to have these conversations in such a productive manner that we walk away again saying, okay, yeah, things are good. We are good. It was a great, refreshing reminder.
And if I could add at the district level, just the relationship between the project managers and everybody who was within our monthly meeting calls, like those were ongoing, they were consistent. It was two-way conversation. It wasn't them telling us how it was going to be done. It was really about listening to our needs. They were very flexible, in that first year when coming back, it was like, oh, can we change this date, or can we do this at a different time, or can we include our assistant principals? Not just, they were just so receptive to the needs of our district that really has made the difference. Lainey addressed, always having Kenethia, always talking to the same person and having that same collaborative group makes a difference, because we're a family now. It's not like it's somebody different every time. It's the same person that feels like, they're just as accountable as we are. They're not just delivering a service. They're in it with us. They want to see us succeed. They want to be part of the solution. So that's a true collaboration between the district and School Kit. And to me, that's one of the things that has really made a difference within these last 2 years of implementation.
And if you think about teacher voice, which is where we all ground the work in when we're building professional learning, a third national data, a third of teachers are saying professional learning isn't, making impact, but then your teachers are begging for it and asking for the particular people they've already connected with. That's huge transformation as far as, teachers being invested in their own growth, because we know.
Yes. And I think, Robin, that goes back to within this second year that we're doing this, and Lainey talked about it. Year one, it was like a prepackaged session. Everybody got the same thing. This year, it is so specific to every cohort of teachers that when they leave there, they're ready for that learning. It's specific to their unit. They've had a chance to dig into the lesson internalization with colleagues and have discussions about something that's going to be specific to their teaching that's upcoming. And that is another huge critical piece, because it's not just a canned presentation that everybody's getting. Our teachers are learning. Our teachers are digging into the work. They're having time to work and network. It's not just to sit and get. These teachers are truly invested and active in the learning during these PD sessions.
School Kit also helped us, and as Cindy said, they've been so flexible with us that sometimes we call them a month ahead of a training and saying, wait, we have an even better idea, or I think this is really what we might need before the plan that we originally created. One of those being, we moved one of our last internalization days and scooted it past in Texas. I know fellow educators know what testing season is like. So an internalization day during this mix is not an additional item or plate to keep spinning in the air for our teachers. So we moved it to the end, and we are actually going to have a self-reflective process. And while it's all so new and fresh to us, and we are going to take a look ahead at our upcoming pacing for the next school year with our curriculum, teachers are going to have a chance to look at the hot spots of our past year's curriculum, where are spots that we really need to truly deeply dive into. Now that we've had more experience with our Texas Star 2.0, where can we build crosswalks, and School Kit's going to help us build more crosswalks between our rigorous curriculum and what our state assessment requires, and being more intentional. So that way teachers feel, okay, we've gotten a good year under our belt, and then getting to see how we'll build onto it next year. They get to give feedback to School Kit, and we have created a very robust survey process that will shape our professional learning next year. So teacher voice has been at the center of our last session together. And I'm grateful that School Kit helped pull that together and was very flexible to allow us to launch this in the next couple of weeks.
That's what I was going to note. Some of the words you guys have been saying are responsive, pivoting based on your needs, flexible. And so you don't want a professional learning partner that isn't meeting the individual needs of the district. And if they are in the professional learning partner guide, that Rivet Education, where they vet all of these partners, they would not be included in the guide if they were not able to tailor to the needs of the districts, just like we tailor to the needs of students, provide high quality services, but then scaffolded supports, get all tier 1 instruction that we all talk about that children deserve. So do districts, right? So we've talked a little bit about how professional learning has evolved. So it sounds like you fully endorse a partnership with a third-party vendor. There are lots of different partners, as in the professional learning partner guide on Rivet's website, that are highly vetted, highly qualified, used across the country. What advice would you give to district leaders to take that next step, to think about beyond the capacity within our district? What impact could be made through a partnership with a third-party professional learning provider?
I would say it's the benefit of having this external provider is that we have a outside unbiased set of eyes coming in. So when they are in our district, when they are working with our teachers, they can look at it through a different lens, but yet we still have those opportunities where we collaborate together so that we can calibrate. Are we seeing the same things? Do we identify those same needs for future implementation? It's just because of the relationship that we had, this partnership worked. I will say, we had some other partnerships that weren't quite as effective. And so we severed ties with them. School Kit works because School Kit works with CCISD. CCISD works with School Kit. It's a true collaboration. So my advice is, if you are looking for an external provider, don't just look at what they offer you on paper. Really build a relationship with them. Ask them those hard questions. What is it that your district needs, and can they help you meet? If it's just this is what we can give you and we're not going to be able to tailor it to your needs or change things, then that's not really a partnership you would want. You want a partner who is going to listen to your needs and then help you identify needs that maybe you just haven't seen yet, but through conversation you can determine, yes, that really we do need to do that, or we don't need to do that. Let's try something different. So having that outside perspective is critical, I think.
And some advice that I would give is for any district that's going to grapple with year 1 of high quality instructional materials, and then also grapple with bringing on a third party to help guide you through that. Trust the process. As well as School Kit is and working with us with our needs, they are equally as good as reminding us of a big picture. When you are on the ground level, or we're in the trenches with teachers and we're so invested and we're so passionate about our district and our community, when we get into one of our meetings or our collaborative design team meetings at the district level, it's so easy to say like, oh, and I'm so excited, or I'm so passionate, or I'm so invested in this one part. School Kit reminds us, hey, there's a process. Let's take a step back. Let's look at our big picture. Let's look at our plot points and how we're going to get there. Let's be intentional. So it really has been 2 ways where they listen to our needs, but they also help us refocus and keep a bigger picture in mind and keep our goals and our vision at the center of our work, which is, of course, how can we best support our teachers, and how can our teachers best support our students?
And it's easy to partner with an organization that has that same core belief of the center or students, but we have to get to student impact through our teachers and our leaders. So it sounds like they've listened to your needs. You didn't use this word, but it sounds like they can push back when something feels like it needs to be, on a different strategic path. I like the word you used, rumble. I think that's a Brene Brown term that she uses.
Yes, it is.
Just
Yeah.
See, I knew Laney's my soul sister, but yeah. So just like being able to rumble and have these respectful conversations with the North Star kids and teachers, and then refocus or reset. So I love that. So what, what would be, so you've talked to district leaders about it, the potential to invest in this partnership. What would be the most outstanding two benefits that they've added value directly into your classrooms?
I would say the guided intellectual preparation that is required to truly be able to, at the classroom level, where is this lesson headed? What is my intention behind today's lesson? And showing us and guiding us to always trace the arc of learning. That's a school kit term. It's my personal favorite part, teacher's favorite part of our internalization days is, have we done the intellectual preparation necessary to deliver this high quality instructional material? They've given that process and those systems to us. We've been able to personalize, and teachers personalize that process. But at the end of the day, are we the best educators we could be for our students, and meeting them where they are and getting them to where we need to get, and really refocusing that. And because it's done at a district level, we're able to walk out of one classroom, walk into the next room, and see that lesson pick up right where we just left off in one classroom, but be so unique to that teacher's style or those students' needs. And School Kit being there to constantly regroup us back to be rooted into the curriculum and having that common language. Our students are getting that consistency across any campus level or any grade level. That process that they've provided us, that intellectual preparation, and because we're all rooted in that one curriculum, our district-wide collaboration is phenomenal. I could go from one campus and then go to an entirely different campus, and they will give a shout out to a teacher who just shared that resource across campuses. And at the end of the day, our students aren't just getting one great teacher, they're getting a district-wide collaboration of great teachers. And because of that consistency in those processes, I'm really excited of where we head now that we know our stuff just a little bit better.
Equity of opportunity for every child in your district to have great teachers. That's what building capacity looks like. I love it. Cindy, did you want to add anything?
I was just thinking as Lainey was talking, you know, from on the district end, when you asked about what is that a benefit to having a third party provider, you know, I talked about perspective, but another piece of that perspective is these external providers work with districts across the country, not just your school. And so I'm sure every district, you know, is very hard on themselves. If something isn't exactly where they want it to be, if the scores aren't where they want them to be, if the kid, and just constantly grappling with, okay, what else can I do? What else can I do? And just kind of beating yourself up, they can come in and say, hey, it's okay. Y'all are way ahead of many of the schools that we're working with. So they're also that voice of reason. They're that, you know, they can help norm what you're doing and how you're feeling. And, you know, that to me is also another benefit, because it's not just, we're not just looking at CCISD, they're looking at the big, when Lainey talked about the big picture, it's not even just the big picture of CCISD, it's the big picture of education across the country. And so that really helps. Again, just put, not that it's okay or it's an excuse, but at least we know we're not the only ones. We know that the direction that we're headed is in the right direction. And, you know, we have gains that maybe we're not perceiving as gains, but someone from the outside is letting us know, hey, look, y'all are doing some really awesome things. And so that to me is just another benefit of partnering with a true collaborative partner.
School Kit put us in contact with another one of their clients in Texas who is also in year 2 of implementation. And School Kit, getting to work with both, was able to say, hey, I see some strengths in your district that complement needs in another district, but I see strengths in their district that complement needs in your district. So we hopped on a Zoom call and we swapped notes, and we said, oh, I like how you did that. Can you share that with me? Or what data points did you collect? Could you share that with me? And now I'm texting back and forth with someone on another side of the state, because Texas is big, that I would have not ran into at a professional learning event or something. It was a quicker access to that network. And so, as Cindy says, that's a true testimony to that partnership and collaboration.
And at the beginning, we talked about building your tribe and building your colleagues. And that's exactly what you're talking about, is we call them more knowledgeable others. So you guys have certain skill sets, and we have more knowledgeable others that are part of our tribe and our family that add, and we just fill each other's gaps. So I love and thank you so much, because you now have equipped people across the country, literally, to be able to make impact for teachers and kids. So by your time today, just your story just gives me chill bumps thinking about how intentional you are and how committed you are, and what amazing leaders that the children and teachers of this district have. So I want to thank you for that. But we have participants who may have questions, so we want to make sure to give them the opportunity to hop off of mute and gain some more insight as they've built their new tribe. This is a great casual opportunity for you guys to think about how to apply their work to your work, whether you're an advocate or a district or a state. We're glad to take yourself off mute and ask anything. Brian Pick, we would love to hear from you. You raised your hand, but it might have been a misclick, but we would love to hear from you.
Okay, I think hi everyone. It's nice to be here. Brian Pick from the Schusterman Family Philanthropies. I was wondering a little bit if you could describe, if I were say a 9th grade English teacher, what's the cadence of my experience in PL in year 1 and year 2 throughout the year? How frequently am I meeting? Who am I meeting with? And what am I doing? Thanks.
Lainey, I can't hear you.
No, we're still unable to hear you, Lainey. Cindy, I don't know if there's anything you want to respond to
So yeah,
Brian's
I
question.
can respond to part of it. Lainey could give you the more specifics as to what's actually happening during the training. But we are very fortunate that we're able to meet with our teachers prior to the start of every grading period. So once in the summer and then 5 times throughout the year to really do the lesson internalization, looking at data, and having those conversations. So it is an ongoing process throughout the year for that face-to-face training sessions. And then we have the scheduled on-site coaching visits. They're pretty much, our coaches are here pretty much every week because we have so many campuses to visit. And so the visits are determined based on data and other observations from our either instructional coaches, our curriculum and instruction team. And so they develop who's actually going to get those coaching visits based on need. But we do meet throughout the year prior to every grading period.
Can we hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, good. To add to that, to piggyback off of Cindy Pettis's response, if you are year 1 of high quality instructional material and you're a freshman English teacher, you probably just received maybe not a unit of a book that you've never read, but you are going to receive a unit of a novel and paired texts that are rigorous and at grade level with the perspective that you might not have seen before. And so even for teachers that are like, I've taught this novel, I've taught Romeo and Juliet for the last 30 years, but not like this. And so your cadence might look like before the unit starts, we have a cohort day. Those are part of what School Kit and our grant initially gave us. But as a district, we decided to invest and budget for to continue those cohort days because of the value that they've had and the great response from teachers. And in those cohort days for year one, it's understanding what is this unit asking of us? What are the skills and knowledge that students will have to be able to demonstrate at the end? And as teachers, we have time to read the text, anticipate difficult places, anticipate needs for support, anticipate maybe some tough conversations, anticipate where will our struggles be? And then in that cohort day or in that training day, we will look at maybe the first or two sections of the unit and really trace how do all of these lessons build off of one another. So gone are the days where teachers are spending their planning time pulling resources, writing questions, creating resources. It's all provided there. So your learning is truly internalizing how do we use the wealth of resources that are provided for us. And then at the end of our session, it's let's look at a couple of these lessons and let's talk about what does this look like in real time in a classroom. For towards the end of our internalization days, our in-class support teachers were also there. So they would take a piece of our lessons and say, this is where my students will need support. These are the resources that are available to provide that extra support. And then in all honesty, you're going to go back to the classroom and do your best because you're trying something for the first time. Throughout our cadence of learning, because we started to become way more familiar, I think it was our fourth grading period where teachers were like, these internalization days are so productive. I wish we do this all the time. And it was like, well, it's been the same process the last 4 times, but now it's starting to make sense because now you know what you don't know. And now we know how to address those things. And so by that fourth grading period, we were now able to talk about, okay, now that I don't have to spend so much time internalizing or learning or trying to figure out how it all maps together, because Odell is very sequential. It has the same setup for every unit. It removes this guessing work of the learning process. Now we're able to talk about, well, how do you deliver it? And how do we deliver that engaging process, which we started to scratch the surface on this year. Teachers are probably more ready to go into that next year. So that would only be like once a grading period to prepare for a unit. And then we probably have a smaller campus PLC once a week. At the middle school level, we have it every day where School Kit can also show up, where our curriculum and instruction team shows up to help support that process. But School Kit has helped us create structures or resources in place to help keep that systemically, even if they can't be there, you know, the sustainability of it. So it'd be once a week. And then we do see School Kit coaches maybe once a month, whether virtually or in person or on campus, to help guide those PLC process or to help us observe and see teaching in real time, or to help us debrief in a PLC process of what we saw or what worked or what didn't work. So I hope that answers your question, Brian.
And we had one more question, just thinking about, you're talking about building the modules for the new teachers that are coming or the teachers that have changed grade levels. Could you just talk a little bit about what that might look like as far as initial thoughts where you're fleshing that out?
We are still fleshing it out, but some of the pivotal pieces that we do know will be necessary is how do you internalize the internalization process. School Kit provides a internalization guide or a unit study guide, and that is walking you through that exact process where what is the unit asking of us, the culminating task, our end product. How do all of the section diagnostics build up to that end product? How will we use formative assessment every single day to prepare us for that diagnostic, to prepare us for that formative or that summative assessment? And that tool will walk you through the process on where do you look in Odell and how do you get there? So the internalization process is definitely one. Before that, we also went backwards and we're like, we probably should give some module on how you navigate the platform. the Odell platform, and where can you find the really nice tips and tricks that Odell provides, and where can you find the Spanish resources that we might need for particular groups of students, giving them that piece. And then another element would be, what are our resource guides that are available through Odell that teachers could go to if they need information? And so there would be a guide of how do we do that, and navigating all those different resources that are there. And then we're still building from there. But those were 3 integral pieces we know would need to be built.
Yeah, you got a shout out, just thanking you for the insight and being willing to take on this conversation to really impact much bigger than Corpus Christi ISD. We want to thank you all so much. I've already loved connecting with you and just so admire the work that you've done. And it is very clear that, again, the heart and the North Star is doing good things for kids. So thank you both. I know that our journey hasn't ended together, because I know I have new friends and new tribe members, but just a note for the audience is that early next week, you'll receive the video link to this webinar. And just a reminder that the May Power Hour is coming up. It's May 18th, and you're going to learn deeply about the first step of being able to secure these external partners is you have to make sure that you have the tools in place to be able to craft your RFPs to procure these partners. So Rivet's really committed to helping you guys from the ground up, make sure that you could have a partnership like Corpus Christi has just graciously spent their time sharing. So thanks so much. We'll be reaching out again, and I'm sure you'll be hearing from some of your new tribe members. So appreciate you all so much. Keep doing the great work.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us. Yes.